Inspiring reveal. Hidden racism exposed as couple wins. 2.3 murders after shocking date incident. Mark and Jessica sat across from each other in the familiar booth of Rosie's Diner, the same spot where they'd shared their first hesitant smiles 5 years ago. The air buzzed with nostalgia, and the aroma of fries and freshly baked pies wrapped around them like an old friend. A playful banter floated between them as they recounted stories of their early days. How he'd nervously splashed ketchup everywhere. How she'd laughed so earnestly it made him feel at ease. The laughter softened, a gentle hum that filled the small space, until Serenity, their server, approached with a smile that quickly froze at the sight of Jessica. "What'll you have, sweetie?" she asked, her eyes on Mark. "And everything for you?" Her answer, a casual but loaded comment, sliced through the air like a knife. Jessica felt the heat rise to her face, the color draining as she grasped the loaded implication. Mark's hands tensed around the glass of milkshake he was about to sip. Excuse me?" Mark questioned, anxiety pooling in his gut. The laughter faded, replaced with an unbearable weight. The juxtaposition of their joyful celebration against the casual disdain sparked flames of anger within them. Jessica's heartbeat quickened, disbelief twisted around her chest. Their anniversary should have been a moment to treasure, not a confrontation with underlying prejudice. "What do you mean by that?" she snapped, her voice steady but hurt. Serenity shrugged. "Just making a joke, lady." The dismissiveness, a slap to the decency they'd expected from this town. The tension in the booth wrapped around them like a vice, forcing them to face something far darker than they ever anticipated. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Mark felt paralyzed, unsure how to navigate the turmoil raging within him. Should he defend Jessica more fiercely, or let it slide? A swell of frustration boiled beneath his skin as he glanced across at her face, the disappointment clinging tightly in her eyes. This moment was supposed to be theirs, a celebration of love. But instead it opened deep-seated wounds they hadn't realized were raw. An undercurrent of fear flowed through him. What did this mean for their lives? Would angles of advancement shift in ways they couldn't predict? Clenching his jaw, he realized they had to confront this, had to take a stand. But with every thought, a more profound sense of dread replaced the warmth of celebration. What if this was only the beginning? As they stumbled through uncomfortable silences, an overwhelming sense of dread gnawed at them. Could they find the strength to challenge the powerful ignorance they'd just encountered? The world outside seemed to loom larger with every passing moment, mocking them with its harsh realities. Questions without answers crashed into their hearts, swirling with urgency. What if they lost more than just an evening out? What if their love, once untarnished and bright, faded under the weight of societal hatred they had tried so hard to ignore? They couldn't let this profound disrespect linger, but they also faced an insurmountable wall of uncertainty. Standing tall against the waves of prejudice would take everything they had. They were now at a crossroads, forced to confront not only the incident, but their own complicated feelings about race and love. As dread seeped deep into their hearts, one question loomed. What would they fight for, and at what cost? A heavy silence enveloped the booth as hearts raced with a mix of fear and resolve. Jessica stared at the half-eaten slice of pie in front of her. The sweetness turned bitter in her mouth. She felt a distinct shift, a fracture forming between the life they'd built and the harsh reality no one wanted to acknowledge. This wasn't a single moment. It was a crack in a foundation they had both taken for granted. Mark, too, felt the rush of adrenaline course through him. Anger ignited by Serenity's condescending remark, blending with the shame of feeling paralyzed. For every playful memory of naive zeal they shared, this moment served as a chilling reminder of the world's unpredictable prejudice. He wanted to snap back at Serenity, but every word felt laden with potential conflict that could shatter their fragile celebration. "Why are we letting this get to us?" he finally uttered, the question more a plea than a challenge. "Why do we care what some waitress thinks?" "Because it's not just her, Mark," Jessica replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "This isn't just about us. It's about what her words mean. Not just for me, but for everyone who looks like me. It's about the bigger picture of society and how we're part of it." Her honesty pierced through his uncertainty. Mark shifted in his seat, staring out the diner's window at a world that was suddenly foreign. The sun had set, casting the bustling street in an eerie twilight. He let Jessica's words sink in, confronting an uncomfortable realization. Their lives were a tapestry woven not only of love and light, but also of truths they had avoided for far too long. They had to start addressing these shadows, however daunting that felt. They finished their meal in a tense camaraderie, a silent agreement forming between them to leave their comfort zones behind. Mark's mind raced with the possibilities. Could they truly confront what lay beneath their seemingly unflawed union? Could he be the partner Jessica needed, one willing to actively champion her fight? The thought compelled him, yet the fear of failing to stand up when it counted stifled his resolve. As they stood to leave, a new determination blossomed within them both. Jessica felt empowered in her vulnerability, knowing that this struggle was hers to navigate, but she didn't have to do it alone. Mark took her hand firmly, a promise exchanging through touch. "You know, we can turn this into something good," he said, looking straight into her eyes, his conviction igniting a spark. "We need to speak up. We should share our story. We shouldn't shy away from the truth we've experienced together." Jessica nodded, her resolve strengthening. There was more to their love than romantic dinners and nostalgic reminiscing. It was about partnership, unity, and the courage to confront ugly truths. They weren't just surviving, they were pushing themselves, leaning into discomfort and making a difference, however daunting that may be. As they walked out of Rosie's, the crisp night air brushed against their skin like the fresh promise of a new beginning. Mark pulled out his phone, instantly searching for resources and groups that could guide them. This was only the start, but it felt monumental, a commitment to fight for justice. Yet just as hope ignited, doubt crept in. What if the path ahead was fraught with opposition? What if they lost friends or faced backlash? Jessica squeezed his hand tighter, sensing his hesitation. "We won't back down, right?" she said, searching his gaze for reassurance. "No. The time has come to face this head-on," Mark declared, their reflection in the diner window a stark reminder of the journey ahead. As they stepped forward into the uncertainty, a chilling thought gripped him. What if this revelation was only the tip of the iceberg, exposing deeper fractures within their lives and testing their relationship beyond its limits? With their hearts pounding, they felt the weight of an impending storm. But they weren't merely preparing to weather it. They were ready to redefine their narrative, one confrontation at a time, even as questions loomed over what it would take to do so. Mark and Jessica walked towards the car, each step echoing the tangled thoughts in their minds. The chill of the evening air felt electric, intensifying the weight of their newfound commitment. As Mark opened the car door, he noticed Jessica staring blankly at the pavement, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Jessica, are you okay?" he asked, the concern evident in his voice. She looked up, the flicker of worry in her eyes wavering. "I am... It's just... This isn't just about us anymore. I've been thinking about my family, my friends. I can't pretend this doesn't affect them too." Mark drummed his fingers against the steering wheel, grappling with the enormity of her words. "We have to be prepared then, to face things that we might not be ready for." He turned the key in the ignition. The engine roared to life, but there was a different kind of tension building in the vehicle, a shared anticipation mixed with anxiety for the challenges ahead. As they navigated the streets, Jessica's thoughts whirled. The moment with Serenity felt like a catalyst, pushing them out of the peaceful bubble they had created. What if engaging means we lose something, or someone? She glanced at Mark, scrutinizing his reaction. Or gain something, Jess. We might find a purpose, uncover parts of ourselves we didn't know existed, he countered, his grip tightening on the wheel. The road ahead was both literal and metaphorical, and they were treading into territory that could either strengthen their bond or threaten to unravel it. Fueled by adrenaline, they agreed to start by sharing their experiences on social media. The digital realm felt less intimate, and possibly safer for their nascent activism. Jessica spent late nights drafting a post, laying bare the weight of her emotions, recounting how Serenity's remark had cut deeper than just a comment at a diner. It was a reflection of the fears and prejudices whispered in the corners of their lives. People need to understand this isn't isolated, she said one night as they sat on the couch. I can't let this go. But Mark hesitated, recognizing the vulnerability required. What if sharing our story invites backlash? What if we're attacked? We'd be exposing ourselves, yes, but silence only allows the hate to fester. Some attacks are inevitable, but I can't keep quiet. Her conviction sparked something inside him, an urge to be strong for her, even when fear threatened his own voice. The next day they hit post together, taking a collective breath as the announcement swirled out into the universe. They received a mix of supportive comments and a few nasty replies that stung like a slap. Each reaction heightened their awareness of the glaring divisions in society, but it also reinforced their resolve. Each notification became a reminder of the choice they made. Days passed, momentum building like a wave gathering strength. They received an invitation to speak at a local forum, a chance to share their story in person with a group willing to hear them. Mark felt the simultaneous thrill and dread swelling within him. Could he truly articulate his feelings in front of strangers? What if I fumble? He admitted one evening, pacing across the living room while Jessica sat on the couch, meditating on his words. Every stutter is still progress, she replied softly. It's authentic. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to make a difference. Her unwavering support encouraged and terrified him. Leaving their comfort zones reshaped their understanding of each other. In confronting their fears, they were also pushing the boundaries of their relationship. Mark felt a kinship with radicals who had faced challenges before him, drawing a thin line between admiration and self-doubt as they prepared for the forum. As the date approached, Mark confronted an unsettling notion. What if his fear turned into a profound revelation, one that made him question the very essence of who he was and what he stood for? They were standing on the precipice of change, and the plunge felt inevitable, like the ketamine threshold of consciousness. The night before the forum, they sat in silence, glancing at their phones filled with notifications, echoes of support and dissent. Ready to step into the spotlight? Jessica asked, her voice breaking the heavy quiet. Mark took a deep breath, a plan forming in his mind. The time was drawing near, and he wasn't just scared. He was ready to explore both the discomfort and the enlightenment that awaited them. The weight of their decisions loomed, promising both transformation and potential fracture. As they drifted into sleep, the questions about their courage, identity, and relationships simmered just beneath the surface. Tomorrow was not just a speech. It would challenge everything they thought they understood. And Mark couldn't shake the sensation that they were on the verge of exposing something far deeper than their own narrative. An unexpected journey awaited. The morning sun cast a bright hue over the room, piercing through the curtains and nudging Mark from sleep. His mind swam with the residue of fragmented dreams, remnants of anxiety coiling his thoughts. Today would be the turning point, a bitter pill wound tightly in layers of anticipation. He pushed the covers off and sat on the edge of the bed, gravity pulling at him. His body felt heavy, laden with uncertainty. He glanced over towards Jessica, who was still lost in her own world of sleep. A profound sense of admiration stirred within him, but it was soon eclipsed by creeping dread. He remembered every cautious step that had brought them to this moment. The notifications that fizzled with life on his phone lingered in his mind, whispering reminders of both praise and hostility. Could he really confront this part of himself in front of strangers? He got up, slipping into a pair of well-worn sneakers, thinking of the moment he'd first put them on. They were a metaphor for his journey, fitting yet uncomfortable. He needed to ground himself before they stepped onto the stage. He craved clarity before risking open exposure. The anxiety would only ramp up as they got closer to their speaking time, and a morning run often brought him solace. As he jogged through the neighborhood, every step seemed more crucial than the last. His thoughts raced ahead of him, piercing through the fabric of his doubts. What if their story fell flat? He couldn't shake the feeling that weighing on his shoulders was not just personal failure, but failure to Jessica and their shared mission. Through the rise and fall of breaths, Mark began to mentally map his speech. He envisioned the faces of the audience, some eager, others skeptical. "You're not a performer, Mark," he muttered under his breath, trying to quell the rising doubt. Yet, a flicker of rebellion sparked within him. "But you might be a voice." The vivid images of Serenity's comment and their own experiences disturbed the surface of his consciousness. With each pound of his feet against the pavement, he felt the anger, the injustice crystallizing in his veins. Each stride became an affirmation. Silence indeed only perpetuated the roots of hate. Today, from the very first word he would speak, with every inch of his will. Returning home, he found Jessica, looking serious yet focused as she prepared assessment notes for their presentation. It stirred something primal in him. He needed to maintain an air of confidence for both of them. He quietly watched her as a new determination erupted, igniting a feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, he could lead them both through this storm. "Hey, Jess," he called gently, and she turned, her expression softening. "We've faced worse than this, haven't we? I mean, it's just words." She smiled, a fleeting spark that reminded him of everything they'd pushed through together. "Words can shape worlds. Let's make sure ours do that." The reassurance buoyed him, even as his doubt bubbled beneath the surface. They reviewed their notes, trading ideas and fears, drawing strength from each other's resolve. Time slipped away, and soon they were walking toward the venue, a venue that felt increasingly like the mouth of a dragon ready to unleash fire. As they climbed the steps of the building, Mark caught sight of a few familiar faces from their social media posts, supporters they hadn't expected to see in real life. Their presence was both comforting and intimidating, and he felt their collective breaths pressing on him, lending him strength and expecting vulnerability. In another 15 minutes they would step into the spotlight, his pulse quickening with each second. Mark squeezed Jessica's hand, an act of solidarity and raw nerves. "It's now or never," he whispered. As they approached the door, a confrontation danced at the periphery of his mind, fueled by anticipation and questions that begged answers. What truths would emerge that day? Was their exposé of prejudice going to unearth deeper, more uncomfortable realities about themselves? And was he truly ready to face what lay before them? The door opened, and the light from the hall spilled out, ushering a world where words would have power. Mark's heart raced, realizing it was time to confront not just the audience but the shifting landscapes of his very being. And as he stepped into the chaos of voices, he knew this was just the beginning of their exploration into vulnerability, truth, and identity. But more than that, what awaited them might change everything they thought they understood about each other, as well as the society they belonged to. The roar of the crowd enveloped Mark and Jessica as they stepped into the auditorium, a cacophony of anticipation and disbelief swirling around them. The stage glimmered under the harsh lights, the microphone standing at the forefront beckoning them closer. A knot twisted in Mark's stomach. His feet felt rooted as if the floor had turned to molasses beneath him. He caught sight of Jessica, her expression shifting from calm determination to quiet fear. This was it. The moment they had spent weeks preparing for, the opportunity to expose the intolerance they had encountered and to demand understanding. But an unsettling thought crashed like a wave over him. What if their narrative wasn't enough? What if their reality, marred by experiences of bigotry, fell flat against the polished expectations of the audience? The MC's voice broke through his reverie, calling them to the stage. Mark took a deep breath, feeling both the weight of their shared story and the exhilaration of sharing it with others. He stepped forward, but legs that were once willing now quaked, and he worried he might crumble. As they settled behind the podium, The spotlight washed over them, illuminating their concerns while simultaneously casting shadows on their vulnerabilities. He opened his mouth, feeling the tremor of uncertainty threaten to derail him. "Thank you all for being here," he managed, his voice steady yet internally fraught. Jessica, poised beside him, picked up the thread. "What we're about to share is not just a story of us. It's a reflection of a culture that needs to heal." She spoke with an urgency that enveloped the room, and Mark felt the shift, her confidence wrapping around him, solidifying his resolve. As they began to recount their recent experience, a date night turned explosive due to a racially charged incident, Mark felt snippets of anger ignite within him. Each word unearthed buried frustrations, and he visualized Serenity's dismissive reaction, the thrust of ignorance smothering their voices. With every graphical detail they described, he saw faces in the audience begin to shift. Some wore expressions of shock, while others mirrored the skepticism he had feared. Would they understand? Would they listen? In the midst of their narrative, Mark felt an unexpected surge of affinity for the very emotions that threatened to unseat him. Their words began to empower him, fashioning a shield against the fear of their reality being brushed aside. "This isn't just about what happened to us," he said, feeling a brave ferocity rise through the vulnerability. "This is about the pervasive, insidious roots of racism that transform everyday experiences into battlegrounds." The tremor of his voice surged into a crescendo of passion that enveloped the auditorium, igniting interest. He began to see fragments of empathy light up in audience members, challenging the skepticism that had initially aimed to chain him. Each sentence they crafted together became a lifeline, bridging the distance between victim and ally. Yet as the narrative unfolded, Mark couldn't shake the residual doubt clawing at the corners of his mind. How vulnerable could they afford to be? Would sacrificing their privacy expose wounds too raw? He exchanged glances with Jessica, the unspoken dialogue transmitting an intricate mix of fear and bravery. The moment grew heavy with uncertainty as they transitioned from confrontation to reflection, asking the audience to examine their own biases and question the norms that lay underneath. The silence that enveloped them was palpable as they allowed the weight of their message to settle, urging everyone to contemplate. Were they prepared to face the ugly truths hidden within their own lives? As they neared the conclusion, Mark felt a bittersweet satisfaction. Exposing their struggle was not merely about seeking validation, but igniting a collective consciousness to understand discomfort and provoke change. Yet, in the depths of his consciousness, he questioned their ability to drive this change beyond the walls of this room. Their final words hung in the air like an unfinished symphony, resolute yet breathing urgency. "It's a call to action, for all of us, to speak, to listen, and to reflect," Jessica concluded, her voice unwavering. Mark's gaze drifted, meeting those watching, and he sensed the electric ripple of awakening beginning to spark. But just as a flicker of hope ignited within him, the shadows of doubt cloaked his heart. Did they truly reach enough people today? As they stepped away from the dais, a mix of relief and lingering anxiety enveloped him. He was left grappling with a profound reality. This moment was a single note in a much larger symphony that demanded to be played out. The applause washed over them, but deep within he questioned whether this breakthrough would spill into tangible change. And as they stepped off stage, a voice in the crowd whispered a familiar name: Serenity. The reality of potential confrontation loomed as Mark's heart dropped. How would they face the very person who had once encapsulated their pain? Would this encounter become the catalyst for deeper understanding, or would it spiral into confrontation? Mark's heart raced as he registered the name spoken from the crowd. Serenity's presence sent an icy surge through his veins. No longer was this a distant fragment of his past, but an immediate reality threatening to plunge him back into the depths of old pain. Jessica's hand instinctively found his, squeezing tightly, grounding him in this whirlwind of uncertainty. He glanced at her, gauging her reaction. Was she prepared for this? Could they navigate the delicate dance of confrontation after illuminating their experience to a sea of unfamiliar faces? The quiet between them felt heavy, laden with unspoken words and shared vulnerabilities. "Stay calm," he mouthed, just before he turned to face the audience again. Serenity stood in the back, her expression unreadable, contrasting sharply with the lingering essence of their recently shared truths. The applause subsided. The atmosphere shifted palpably as onlookers turned to witness the tension unfold. Mark could feel their collective breath hitch, mirroring the knot tightening within him. "I didn't expect this," he murmured to Jessica, the words barely escaping his lips, his mind racing through potential outcomes. Should they confront Serenity openly, risk damaging whatever message they had just shared, or avoid her altogether? But retreating now seemed cowardly, an act against everything he had just fought to address. Drawing in a deep breath, he took a step forward again, partly for Jessica's sake and partly for his own. "What we just spoke about is difficult, but it's real," he started, locking eyes with Serenity as he spoke. "It's vital to own our past, however uncomfortable." He felt a surge of power in his honesty, clinging to the principle he had just championed. But nowhere in his rehearsals had he prepared to face Serenity directly. The woman who had once brushed off his existence now hovered like a phantom. Her role in his history was set with unparalleled resentment, and he felt every conflict bubbling anew. Serenity's regard was steadfast, a silent challenge emanating from her expression. She took a step forward, defying the crowd, as if their gaze mattered little to her. "You think you've unearthed something profound here?" she replied, her voice steady, yet laced with an edge that hinted at defiance and defense alike. "This isn't the Hollywood ending you're hoping for. Pain can be about perspective, and you may not have the full story." Mark felt Jessica tense beside him. He squeezed her hand tighter, parsing the implications of Serenity's words. Could she really minimize their experience so effortlessly? This was the risk of confronting the past, navigating layers upon layers of personal defense mechanisms. "What does it take to understand?" Mark replied, slowing down to maintain control. Each word became an exercise in self-restraint, a delicate balance between confronting and understanding. "You know that a perspective that privileges itself makes it easier to dismiss the truths of others." As Mark spoke, he felt something shift within. With each word, a cloud of uncertainty lifted. He was beginning to see this confrontation as an opportunity rather than a battle. He could lead with empathy, could confront his demons openly instead of hiding from them. The crowd's whispers swelled, reflective of the tension now breeding between the two. Their shared past was suddenly not just an echo, but a tangible present. "Sit down with us," Mark continued, his voice unwavering. "Let's open the door way you wish it to be." Jessica looked at him wide-eyed as the implications of his invitation settled in. Where had this newfound bravery sprung from? It was exhilarating yet terrifying. This was an opportunity to venture deeper, to delve into what this fraught relationship could truly become. "And why would I?" Serenity countered, a glimmer of uncertainty flickering behind her defense. "Because real conversations aren't about winning or losing," Mark replied, his determination sharpened. "They're about connection. If you truly want to understand, let's explore it." At that moment, a shift occurred in Serenity's posture, a subtle opening. Doubt crept in, and for the first time he sensed awareness flicker in her eyes. Perhaps they hadn't begun to truly heal yet, but sitting down with her could herald a significant leap in their evolution. Just as hope began to stir within him, he felt the familiar pang of tension return. What if she refused? What if she chose to bolster her defenses and dismiss his appeal as naive? He could feel the eyes of the audience watching, waiting for the next conflict to unfold. "Will you join us?" he asked again, his voice steadying. Serenity's face was a mosaic of conflicting emotions as the crowd held its breath. Would she bridge the gap, or would he be left standing alone against the ghosts of yesteryears? Mark's internal clock ticked rapidly. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing against his chest. The next few words could change everything. Yet here he was, poised for a breakthrough or a heartbreaking regression. But as this moment hung suspended in time, another voice called out from the crowd, demanding attention, turning the focus once again to the audience. Mark's heart sank. The unexpected intrusion had interrupted a pivotal opportunity. "Can I ask a question?" a woman called, her inquiry resonating with the tension that brewed. Mark braced himself, feeling the stakes elevate once more. What new revelations would emerge now, spiraling into unforeseen territory? The murmur rippled through the audience like a wave, creating a palpable electric tension that seemed to only serve to amplify Mark's already racing heart. He shifted slightly to re-establish contact with Jessica, seeking her supportive presence even in this tumultuous moment. Just as he felt her warmth, a mask of determination settled onto his features. The unexpected question, posed by an anonymous audience member, hung in the air, prompting curiosity that overshadowed the fragile moment between him and serenity. "Could you clarify what you mean by real conversations?" the woman pressed, her tone neither confrontational nor forgiving, creating an inviting yet challenging space for dialogue. Mark sensed the weight behind her question, a collective yearning from the audience for transparency, authenticity, and perhaps a deeper understanding of their experience. He decided to seize this moment. "Real conversations require bravery and vulnerability to face our truths," Mark began, grounding himself in his own words. "It means laying bare our wounds and acknowledging that everyone's pain, past, present, and future, deserves acknowledgement." He gestured slightly toward Serenity, emphasizing her presence in this unfolding dialogue. However, vulnerability doesn't equate to weakness. His voice strengthened, layered with conviction, as he outlined the delicate complexities of healing. Sometimes, those who challenge us allow us to see parts of ourselves that we're afraid to confront. Serenity watched closely. There was a flicker of something in her eyes. Was it anger or contemplation? Could he actually reach her? Mark pushed forward, fueled by an urgency to bring authenticity back into this space. He turned his full attention to Serenity, feeling the crowd shift along with him. "You know this better than anyone, don't you? You've seen the facade people put on, the masks we wear every day," he stated, hoping to ignite a spark of understanding between them. Her lips pressed into a thin line, a sign of her internal struggle. For a moment, it felt as if time itself paused, the crowd becoming merely a backdrop to this intimate confrontation. "Everyone thinks they're intricately aware of their own stories," she finally replied, her voice tinged with a wistful edge. "But sometimes it's easier to be the villain in someone else's narrative rather than face our own. What makes you think you're any different?" Mark felt the words land heavily. They were not the intended blow he expected. She was holding up a mirror he wasn't fully prepared to see himself reflected in. "Maybe I'm not different," he admitted, his vulnerability surfacing. "Maybe I'm just realizing how deeply I'd buried this part of myself. The shame and guilt of not addressing it when it was needed." A quiet buzz of conversation flittered through the audience, and with it, an opportunity for Mark to draw them into this unfolding exchange. Perhaps we could start with the question of how. How do we choose to unpack these realities together? His words reached towards Serenity, yet also echoed for the audience, guiding them toward collective introspection. Jessica's grip on his hand tightened in encouragement. Mark recognized this was not merely an invitation for dialogue, it was an appeal for genuine connection, both with Serenity and the spectators who witnessed the unraveling tensions. Serenity regarded him, her composure softening as she pondered the invitation. "What if I tell you I find that perspective infuriating?" Her defensiveness seemed more like a protective cloak, hinting at her own struggles rather than a dismissal of Mark's call for vulnerability. "What if your understanding doesn't resonate with my reality?" He sensed a shift, a crack in her defenses. "Then let's talk about that," he offered gently, his tone imbued with authentic curiosity, stoking the embers of their shared history. "Let's delve into what your experience looks like, because I'm here, ready to listen, not to decide who's right or wrong, but to find common ground." The intrigue in the audience only heightened, drawing them closer into the unfolding exchange. Serenity seemed to contemplate the gravity of their intertwined truths, and Mark held his breath, hopeful yet apprehensive. Would this lead them toward understanding? Just as Serenity opened her mouth to respond, a second voice emerged from the crowd, louder and more pressing. "But what if you're just glossing over the real pain?" Mark froze, his chest tightening at the confrontation woven within this innocent inquiry. He realized the conversation was evolving, yet another challenge loomed. Would he be able to navigate this layered interaction and foster a breakthrough? Or would the flood of unresolved tensions drown any meaningful connection he sought? As the fate of the dialogue teetered on a knife's edge, Mark prepared to step even further into the fray, ready to confront the hidden intricacies of their past and the palpable lesson newly concluded in the audience. What revelation could potentially ignite yet another round of introspection and healing for them all? Mark's heart raced in response to the unexpected voice from the crowd, the challenge piercing through the static electricity of the moment. There was something unnervingly familiar about the tone, as if it were a beacon illuminating a dark truth he had kept at arm's length. He needed to choose his next words carefully, knowing that each syllable bore the weight of collective skepticism and personal accountability. Glossing over pain doesn't lead to healing, Mark replied, his voice steady, more confident than he felt internally. What's crucial is understanding that pain often disguises itself, hiding beneath layers of pretense. It's easy to say, "I'm fine," when we've buried our traumas so deep we can no longer feel them. But what if we dared to stop pretending? The room quieted as every gaze shifted to Serenity, weighing her response carefully. Tension simmered, yet there was an air of expectancy as well. Mark had struck a chord with his last statement. Would she see the invitation to truly engage? Serenity's brows furrowed, and for a moment Mark contemplated what battle she was waging against the suggestions of vulnerability he presented. And what if I'm not ready to dig that deep? She shot back, her defensiveness rising yet again. What makes you think that your willingness equates to mine? Because I've been where you are, Mark answered, a flicker of resolve igniting within him. I once thought revealing my struggles would make me weak, and yet here I am. Turning my heart inside out won't cripple me. It liberates me from the shame of silence. He looked around the audience, realizing he wasn't merely speaking to Serenity, but to a collective consciousness consumed by its own fears. Their eyes reflected hope and trepidation, a longing to confront the shadows hovering in their lives. It's exceptionally disarming to face our truths, he continued, his body now leaning slightly forward, embodying the invitation he was trying to extend. But ignoring our pain just allows it to fester like an unhealed wound. I don't have all the answers, but I believe that by sharing the burden we can at least start a dialogue. A moment of silence enveloped the room, punctuated only by the quiet rustle of the audience as they processed his words. It was then that a flicker of something shifted in Serenity's expression. Was it vulnerability? Finally she spoke, her voice softer, though still laced with skepticism. What if you expose it all and still feel empty? Then we keep exploring, he asserted with renewed vigor. We take it one step, one conversation at a time. We owe it to ourselves to make that effort, but it begins with dialogue, understanding that every bruise hides a story. Serenity studied him, neither agreeing nor disagreeing, simply contemplating. And what if all we reveal is just more pain? Perhaps, Mark replied, feeling an unfamiliar flame inside him. But some pain echoes truths that need to be voiced. Maybe it's time for the story to unfold differently. For you, for me, and for those listening. And if we can harness that together, maybe we can find purpose in our wounds. Mark's breath quickened with the realization that he too was opening a door he had once kept locked. Jessica's supportive presence fluttered on the periphery, adding a comforting warmth to the fray. He felt their connection deepening, a silent, steadfast bond that reminded him of the risks involved in this arduous journey. Suddenly, the audience shifted as if waiting in anticipation for Serenity's response. She searched their faces, distracted by the journey laid out before her. The energy in the room felt thick, charged with emotions, memories, and unspoken truths. As she gathered her thoughts, Mark calculated the weight of this moment. A storm of questions brewed within him as he contemplated his next move. Aware of the delicate balance between push and pull they were now navigating together. Serenity then reached out, her hand trembling just slightly. Maybe I'm tired of being the villain, she said quietly, surprising Mark with her honesty. But I'm scared the heroics will hurt even more. He felt a flicker of hope within his chest, ignited by her confession. Then let's rewrite your story. Let's confront that fear. Together. He could feel the anticipation around them now, the weight of uncharted territories beckoning. If they ventured further into this dialogue, what new realizations could emerge? Could they navigate this intricate dance not only for themselves, but for others who yearned for the same path to honesty and healing? With the collective gaze of the audience fixed on them, Mark recognized the urgency of the moment. Would they seize this opportunity to confront the hidden truths? Or would they allow the narrative of fear to silence them once more? Mark stepped closer to Serenity, the tension between them thickening with the gravity of her admission. He could feel the pulse of anticipation thrumming through the audience like a heartbeat, underscoring the moment. It was a risky maneuver on his part, opening the door for deeper vulnerability. Yet it felt essential. Standing in this space of raw honesty was terrifying. But more than that, it was unlocking parts of himself he had long kept hidden. Your fear is valid, he said, his voice low and steady, channeling all his attention to her. But what if that fear invites growth instead of pain? Imagine rewriting the script where your vulnerability becomes your strength. Instead of villain, you could become the hero of your own story. In the silent pause that followed, Mark felt the weight of his own healed scars. Each had served a purpose, transforming him into someone resilient, someone who had discovered value and purpose through suffering. Yet he also felt a flicker of doubt. Was he asking too much of her? His heart raced as he pondered whether Serenity could see the light flickering under the weight of her fear. Serenity's gaze lowered as she grappled with the weight of his words, flickering like the dim light of a candle in the wind. What had she buried beneath her own layers? As she searched for an answer, Mark took a moment, assessing his next words. "You're not alone in this," he continued softly, letting his voice wrap around the willingness he sensed from her. "Think about what led you to this point. What shadows keep you in the dark?" The audience leaned in closer, sharing the intimate space between them. Mark could almost hear their collective thoughts. What is she hiding? What have I buried deep within myself? These unspoken questions hung heavy in the air, creating a palpable tension. He shifted his focus back to Serenity. Your story doesn't have to end there, wrapped in guilt or shame. It's about reclaiming your narrative. Every emotion alive in you right now, fear, anger, sorrow, can be rechanneled into something powerful. Serenity looked up, her eyes glistening with unformed emotions. Was the shift in her demeanor just a flicker of hope, or a more profound realization ready to break free? "Don't you think it's too late for me?" she whispered, her voice a frail wisp in the electric atmosphere. "What if I've lost everyone's trust already? If I open up, what's left for me?" Mark felt a pang in his chest. He had shared that same fear once. Yet it had transformed into courage, propelling him into the unknown. It's never too late, not as long as you're willing to confront your truth. Regaining trust starts with honesty, both with yourself and with those around you. Your story can inspire others struggling in silence, just as mine has. Look at us. We're standing at the edge of something powerful right now. He could see the flicker of uncertainty battling with a burgeoning desire for connection in Serenity's eyes. Mark felt the momentum shift within her. It was as if someone had turned the key to a locked door he wasn't aware existed. With a sweeping glance at the audience, Mark felt a surge of determination. Every person here has a story. Let's not gloss over our histories any longer. We have the power to change our narratives if we dare to articulate those truths. Who's ready to unlock their vulnerability? The moment hung in the air, electric and thick with anticipation. Would Serenity rise to the occasion? Would others in the audience find the courage to step into the light as well? Mark felt a yearning for clarity in this dimly lit space of emotional rawness, aware that this pivotal exchange could shift their lives and lead to a collective unfolding of truths they had all imprisoned. As Serenity's gaze caught his, Mark sensed that a choice lay before her. A fork in the road. "Are you ready to unveil the truth with me?" he asked, barely holding his breath. And as the audience awaited her answer, an unexpected shadow crossed the room, stirring something he couldn't yet name. It was a wake-up call, a realization that their journey was only just beginning. Mark felt the ground shift beneath him, and for a fleeting moment, he understood that their exploration would be more than about fear. It would expose an unseen darkness lying just beneath the surface. But what would that uncover? What hidden struggles loomed around them, waiting for the light? Mark felt the weight of the moment pressing in as he awaited Serenity's response. The auditorium pulsed with energy, anticipation crackling in the air like static. What did she see as she gazed at him? Was it a flicker of understanding sparking to life, or a need to retreat back into the safety of her defenses? With every heartbeat, he sensed the tumult of emotions swirling not only within Serenity, but throughout the crowd, a sea of hidden stories yearning for acknowledgement. Finally, Serenity's expression shifted. Hesitation melted away, replaced by vulnerability. "I never thought I had power in my story," she admitted, her voice a gentle tremor. "I've only ever seen it as a burden, a stigma I carry every day. What if, in the process of revealing it, I lose everything I thought I had?" "That's the risk, isn't it?" Mark replied, his voice steady and resonant. "The road to healing often requires us to lose parts of the illusions we've held on to so tightly. But this is a chance for transformation. By sharing, you reclaim not just your own narrative, but you also invite others to navigate their truths." Silence enveloped them, and he could feel the audience hanging on every word, their collective vulnerability opening up a channel for genuine connection. Mark glanced around. Some held their breath, while others shared knowing glances, seeing reflections of themselves in Serenity's struggle. "Together we can foster understanding instead of division," he continued, stepping further into this newfound intimacy. "Let's rewrite our narratives not just for ourselves but for others who feel trapped in theirs." Serenity's gaze drifted from Mark to Jessica, absorbing the layers of solidarity radiating from the duo. "I want to believe that," she confessed softly. "But what if it's too late for me to be anything but the villain?" "It's never too late," Jessica interjected, her voice unwavering. "The beauty of storytelling is that it allows for redemption, growth, and innumerable second chances. Every difficulty faced can lay the groundwork for an opportunity to inspire change, not just within ourselves, but in others." A spark flickered in Serenity's eyes, mingling with a haze of trepidation. Mark felt the shift in the atmosphere, a palpable electricity weaving through the audience, urging them to lean in closer, as if they too were part of this awakening. Mark reached toward Serenity. "Think about those raw emotions. What if they could forge connections instead of gaps? What if sharing your truth allows someone else to feel seen, heard, even liberated?" Serenity hesitated, caught between the fear of vulnerability and the spark of hope igniting within her. "I don't know. I'm scared of what's on the other side of that door." "Let's face that fear together," Mark encouraged gently. "You wouldn't be doing this alone. Remember, vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's an act of profound strength. By embracing it, you open yourself not just to healing, but to genuine connections." In that moment, it felt as though a barrier began to break down, not just for Serenity, but for everyone present. They were all participants in this moment, strangers mingled into the tapestry of shared experience, empathy rising like a tide. Each heartbeat resonated with the understanding that they too bore their respective burdens. Their struggles echoed in the universal human story. "I want to try," Serenity finally breathed out. "I want to open that door to see if healing waits on the other side with you both." Her voice was raw, trembling yet resolute, a declaration of intent that appeared to summon an immediate resonance within the auditorium. Mark's heart soared. He had not just witnessed a shift, but had become part of a transformative movement that transcended their individual narratives. It felt monumental. They were all stepping into a shared purpose, channeling their fears into an opportunity for collective healing. As the audience erupted into applause, an electric atmosphere enveloped them. The claps were not merely for their confrontation, but for the courage to embrace vulnerability. It was a moment of recognition, a pact between individuals, who had moments ago been strangers but were now comrades in the pursuit of truth and understanding. Mark and Jessica shared a fleeting glance, each aware of the gravity of this moment. They weren't merely advocating for change, they were embodying it. Their voices would ripple through the community, creating waves of clarity and urgency in places once clouded by silence. As they descended from the stage, a sense of satisfaction filled their chests. They were no longer just survivors of prejudice, but active participants in crafting a new narrative, one that embraced authenticity, understood the power of vulnerability, and tore down the walls that had kept so many trapped. The journey ahead would undoubtedly be fraught with challenges and adversities, but they had taken a monumental first step toward transformation. They would continue to share their stories, pressing forward together toward a world where understanding and compassion eclipsed judgment and prejudice, fostering not just personal growth, but an ever-evolving community, ready to redefine what it meant to confront discomfort and inspire change. Mark and Jessica walked out of the auditorium hand in hand, hearts lifted by an invincible sense of purpose. They had finally found their voices, not just for themselves, but for everyone who had ever felt unheard or overlooked. They were ready to create a legacy born through frank conversations, dismantling injustice and championing honesty in the face of adversity. Now they were armed with the realization that true change begins when one dares to be vulnerable, when one embraces the journey of transformation, raising their voices in unison to uplift others along the way. The air outside felt electrified with the possibility of a new beginning, an indomitable resolve lighting the path ahead. This was their moment, and together, they would continue to redefine what it meant to contend with the shadows of their past, forging a future rich with understanding and courage. Now here's where you come in. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive emotional story. This is the moment to show your support if you've been inspired by their journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm because your engagement makes a difference. Comment below your reactions, thoughts, and theories about this powerful conclusion that has just unfolded. And please share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformative experience. Don't wait even one more second. Be a part of spreading this message of resilience and growth.